At this point, the board is back in regular session, having called the meeting to order at 5 o'clock. We moved into executive session. We called the roll, but we did not say the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would all please rise and join us in reciting the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here this evening. We also took the roll call, and as you see, Mr. Luby is not with us this evening. Unfortunately, Mr. Patricio is not feeling well, so you may see us jump around a bit on the agenda. I know that's unusual for us, but promised him we would get him out here as soon as possible. I don't know that we really let him coughing and breathing on us anyway. So I'm going to start by reading the mission statement this evening, just as a reminder that the parents, students, staff, and community of the Piqua City School District accept the responsibility to provide our students with the best possible opportunities for the intellectual, moral, and physical development necessary to become responsible citizens. And that's why we're here this evening, just a brief reminder. Moving along, let's approve the minutes from the February 19th, 2015 regular meeting. You've had the opportunity to have a look at those. Are there any corrections or changes that you requested? Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve them, please?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and we'll make a note that that's been approved by unanimous consent, please. And you'll notice I'm losing my voice as well, so we'll try to get through this rather quickly. Next on the agenda is to approve tonight's agenda. Are there any addendums or changes other than what I've mentioned verbally? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion, please, to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and again, will be approved by unanimous consent. How about if we move next to the veteran diploma? They're getting ready.
Mr. Lyons is going to be the
You
presentation.
want to do that next? Awesome. Really interesting.
If I start now, we'll be able to make a grand entrance.
Well, that would be great. Do we have music too?
I have music, the whole line, that'd be great.
All right.
Just to give you a little bit of history, a couple of months ago, Frank Lemon's daughter, Wendy Lemon, originally, she was a Piqua High School graduate, contacted me, and her interest was in the potential for her father, who would have been, I think, a 68, 66 grad in there, left when he was drafted to go to the Vietnam conflict and fight, and ultimately to receive his high school diploma. While he was in the Army, he did the GED program, but obviously it was his interest to be able to get a high school diploma. So all that said, kind of did a little bit of research, and I know Mr. Larson worked with Wendy as well to be able to make this happen. After several forms being filled out and us ordering a diploma, we were able to get in contact with Wendy. You can see her father, Frank, there coming this way right now, and being able to award him his high school diploma this evening. So I guess without further ado, I would like to introduce everyone who's here tonight. Wendy, why don't you come up to the podium real quick here? And this is Wendy. She's the one that I've been talking to, and we know each other from a couple of years ago, right? Why don't you introduce Mom and your husband?
My mom is over there. It's Amy Lemon. She's been married to my dad for 45 years this year. My dad is Frank Lemon. He's getting the diploma. And then my husband over there is Lance Ray, and my son over there is Hunter Ray. And we're here to, we've been doing this, waiting for this for a long time.
Well, come on up. And I'd just like to say on behalf of Piqua City Schools Board of Education, Mr. Haynes, our superintendent, and everyone else here that's involved with Piqua City Schools. I've been here 9 years as an administrator, and I've never had the opportunity to do something that's this rewarding for me. It's great to give away hundreds of diplomas every year, but this one's very special. Thank you for two things. for working to get to this point and for serving your country for those years and giving up the opportunity to finish high school as it was. So this is your high school diploma, and if everyone would give him a round of applause.
Echo Mr. Lyons' comments. Thank you so very much, Mr. Lemon, for your service, and what a wonderful ceremonial celebration, I guess, this evening. We don't very often get to recognize our veterans.
It's a very long time coming. It's never awesome. He's always wanted it. He went on and to be a barber, and then he worked for his father in business, and he still wanted that to go.
Well, we're happy to be able to do that for you guys this evening. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. You're more than welcome to stay.
Well, so appreciate it, and we've got to get him moving. So he's a severe diabetic, so we've got to get him moving. So I hope you guys feel better.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
guys. Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We do have some ceremonial resolutions this evening recognizing some accomplished students, and given my weak voice, we're going to hand those off to Mr. Kite and Mr. Gregerson. Thank you.
I'd like to enter into the record ceremonial resolution honoring Ike Carr. This is ceremonial resolution 115. And it reads, whereas the Pickle City School District is proud to recognize Pickle High School student Ike Carr, whereas Ike Carr has demonstrated commitment to excellence with a 5th place finish in the OHSAA State Division 1-meter diving event. Whereas the Pickle City School District recognizes an extraordinary example of high expectations, hard work, self-motivation, and effort. Be it resolved, the Pickle City School District honors Ike Carr and recognizes his commitment to excellence. This resolution is adopted the 26th day of March, 2015, and signed by Board President Lori Webster, Treasurer Jerry Hittle, and Superintendent Richard Haynes.
The entire board extends their congratulations, Ike, but we're going to refrain from shaking hands all this
Thank you.
evening.
Would also like to enter into the record ceremony resolution 2-15 honoring Hunter Bryant. Whereas the Pickle City School District is proud to recognize Pickle High School student Hunter Bryant, whereas Hunter Bryant has demonstrated commitment to excellence by qualifying for participation in the OHSAA State Wrestling Tournament. Whereas the Pickle City School District recognizes the extraordinary example of high expectations, hard work, and self-motivation and effort. Be it resolved, the Pickle City School District honors Hunter Bryant and recognizes his commitment to excellence. This resolution is adopted the 26th day of March, 2015, again signed by Board President Lori Webster, Treasurer Jeremy Hittle, and Superintendent Richard Haynes. You're not Hunter.
I am not Hunter. He's a lot better looking and a lot better of an athlete. Hunter is being recognized tonight in a statewide banquet for his accomplishments this year as one of the top wrestlers in the state. So
Awesome.
on his behalf, I will accept that.
I'd like to enter into the record ceremonial resolution 3-15, recognizing Colton Bachman. Whereas the Pickle City School District is proud to recognize Pickle High School student Colton Bachman. Whereas Colton Bachman has demonstrated commitment to excellence by reaching the milestone of 1,000 career points for PHS basketball. Whereas the Pickle City School District recognizes the extraordinary example of high expectations, hard work, self-motivation, and effort. Be it resolved that the Pickle City School District honors Colton Bachman and recognizes his his commitment to excellence. This resolution was adopted the 26th day of March 2015, signed by Lori Webster, the President, Jeremy Hill, Treasurer, and Richard Haynes, Superintendent of Pickle City Schools.
Once again, Colton had a previous basketball engagement. Speaking for him. Accepted.
To recognize our students for their achievement, whether it's athletic or academic, and it was an interesting following these athletes during the winter season. Legislative, let's see, where are we? Celebration this evening? Okay. And Tony, you can handle that for us, Mr. Lyons?
I'm simply doing the introductions.
Okay. So I thought we might have someone else open this evening.
We do have a few others to come up this evening and share the presentation. Once again, good evening. Thank you all for allowing us to host here at Pickle High School and to highlight some of these wonderful things that we have here. Not the least of an outstanding program led by Mr. Hornbeck, our college instructor through Ohio Northern University. As you know, we have been hosting college courses for several years through Ohio Northern University and more recently with Edison. Long before there was a College Credit Plus, we had our version of College Credit Plus. So we're blessed to have some outstanding teachers and obviously students in those programs as well. This program that is going to be highlighted tonight is our Ohio Northern University sociology class. Once again, the instructor is Mr. Hornbeck, and he will introduce some students to share a presentation with you about some content and curriculum that they've recently covered. Mr. Hornbeck.
Good evening, board members, district administrators, and public, and everybody who's here tonight. I'm so glad Mr. Lyons asked me to work with these students and give a presentation tonight. One of my favorite things about being a teacher here at Piqua High School is the extraordinary offerings that we have, and one of those is through Ohio Northern University. And I've been working with those guys for the last few years and working with Mr. Lyons and Mr. Haynes on this. And the sociology class has always been offered at PHS, but 6 years ago when I got here, I took over the regular social class. And then we integrated the Ohio Northern dual enrollment social class about 3 years ago. So this is the third year we're doing that, and it's become a really cool class to be able to offer. One of the biggest reasons is because sociology helps explore life outside of the bounds that we're in right here in this community. And there's a lot of different cultures that exist in the world, and we get to take a look at that. And one of the units that we focus on is that of criminology and deviance in society. And that's an important thing to take a look at because we all deal with it, and deviant acts are not just criminal, but they often are. And we all know that there's criminal activity that goes on around us. And so we take a dive into criminal activity and we try to look at why it happens and what are some of the ways to prevent it from happening in our society. And that's a big part of the ONU social class. So we did take a dive into that in the class. And these students that are here tonight are going to share with you what exactly we did when looking at it and some of the stuff that we looked at. We were able to take a great outside trip to some of our county judicial places that exist to actually take a look at how these things are facilitated. And so our students, Jolene Song, Liz Dewar, and Teal Booker, outstanding students, are going to present some of the things that we've been doing here lately. And so let's welcome Jolene as our first presenter.
Greetings, board members, district administrators, and community. My name is Jolene Shaw, and I'm a student in the Ohio Northern Sociology class. This class will be my fourth ONU class, and I will start college with a semester's worth of credits because of it. In this class, we've been studying deviance and crime. Tonight, we will provide you with a brief update on our study into this subject. Deviance, crime and criminology. What is crime and criminology? Crime occurs in all segments of society. A wide range of offenses are committed, not just street crime. The general public views crime as a major social problem. Some are fascinated with crime. What factors do you think contribute to crime? a large underclass, urban areas in which the poorest and the wealthy live in close proximity, racism and discrimination, failure of the educational system, troubled American family, easy access to handguns, a culture that defines success in terms of material wealth, drug use, peer support, violence on TV, and a lack of punishment. All these factors are used in the development of theory. And this leads us to criminology. Criminology uses the scientific method to pose research questions. Criminology integrates knowledge from many different fields, including criminal justice, sociology, psychology, economics, political science, and natural sciences such as biology. Now let's explain what crime and deviance is. This was a major part of our study in class. Crime and deviance. Deviance is a behavior departing from social norms. A crime is conduct violating law and subject to punishment. Not all criminal acts are deviant. Not all deviant acts are criminal. Each changes over time and place. Sociological unit. In class, we took a look at how crime could be reduced within a society. Examples: punishment and sanctions, both formal and informal. Questions to be asked from this: do formal sanctions work? Why does the United States have the highest incarceration rate in the industrialized world? Why is the Midwest in the middle of heroin epidemic? Why are more people taking illicit drugs like heroin? We departed from the classroom. We went to practicing professionals to help answer these questions. And no, the professional was not Mr. Hornbeck. To begin to take a look at some of these issues, we first went to the Miami County Municipal Court. We first watched the court and the proceedings that took place that day, and followed by we evaluated the infractions which are dealt through plea bargains. Following that, we had a session with the judge, and she concluded that the jail is not always the answer. Sometimes background assessment and keeping people away from the jail is the best answer. This may prevent negative socialization, which negative socialization would be the criminals in the jail learning to repeat the crime. Following this, we went to the Miami County Jail. Through this, we toured the jail and met the two top officers of the jail. Here we learned that the jail has been overcrowded. Inmates are separated into two large rooms to prevent them from fighting and other issues. Most of the time, offenders repeat and come back many times over again. Overview. Heroin and drugs are a major problem in the criminal justice system in Miami County. Solutions for this to keep inmates out of jail are early intervention in lives of students, parental involvement, good schools, potential banning of opiate drugs completely. And from this trip, overall, we had a great first-hand experience learning about why crime is committed and the complexity of trying to reduce crime in society. Thank you.
Those are our outstanding students. They're wonderful. And it's so fun to have them in class because these guys come to conclusions and to consensus prior to me even being able to answer their questions. They answer each other's questions. It's so fun to see the free flow of knowledge just happen with these outstanding students. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. And thanks to the Miami County court system and jail, they were amazing letting us go in there and actually take a look at that. So, and while I'm here, I was also asked to share with you guys something that I'm doing here at the high school. Last year, I applied. Mr. Lyons and Mr. Haynes wrote me a recommendation letter. I had a couple of former professors to something called the James Madison Memorial Fellowship. And every year, the James Madison Memorial Fellowship out of Georgetown University and the Congress, they choose one teacher, history teacher, an upper-level history teacher, or college teacher, and they award them a fellowship. And the fellowship pays for an entire dual master's degree in American history and political science. and who spend their summer in Georgetown for a couple of years, and you have to write a thesis. And I was selected last year to do that. And so I did my first summer last year, and I'm getting ready to start on my thesis. That's my spring break plans on Abraham Lincoln. And we're going to go back this summer. Oh, I'm excited about it. So, so this will all in all end up paying for nearly $30,000 worth of coursework to be able to do that. So I was super fortunate to be able to get this fellowship, and I just wanted to share that with you guys. And thanks so much for having us out here. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Nice job.
So if Dustin had the opportunity to choose Panama or Abraham Lincoln Studies, he would absolutely every day of the week choose Abraham Lincoln. and everybody knows him knows that. So we're blessed to have not only the programming and the instructors, but most especially the young people who are quickly exiting right now.
Brett is there. They're going to have homework
Right.
to do, projects to work on.
They've got work to do. We have many courses like this, Ohio Northern University and Edison courses as well. In fact, we had another teacher approved to be able to teach organic chemistry today. As a matter of fact, I got that email. So very exciting times for us in light of what's coming from College Prep Plus in the Ohio Board of Regents. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's move on quickly through board reports. Mr. Haynes, would you like to provide a legislative update?
One of the biggest things I've been waiting on, Mr. Bill, looking carefully at the governor's proposed budget. Legislation is looking at analyzing that, and their goal should be to have it to us by June. But sometimes it's been July, sometimes it's been August. At this point, City Schools gets benefited from the governor's proposal, but changes are already at work within committees in Columbus that is most likely going to affect us. So as we get more information on the governor's proposal and the reaction to it, we'll continue to review into education. That's one of the biggest things. We're working out some other minor things with education, but the budget is obvious.
Thank you. Next is the Upper Valley Career Center report. Mr. Height?
Yes. Guys aren't going to get off this easy because we've been busy in the last month. We had our regular meeting this past Monday. Lots have been going on at the Career Center. At the recent Southwest Ohio School Board spring meeting, several of our staff members, several of our board members at the Career Center were recognized for 10 years, 15, and 30 years of service to the board. Also, Kathy Forrest was recognized as the Outstanding Community Public Relations Person for the Southwest region. This year, Kathy, along with her regular responsibilities, oversaw the production of a video that highlighted the first 40 years of the Upper Valley Career Center. Recently, we also learned that NK Telco has requested to film 13 episodes of a cooking show using our new culinary arts facility. The initial pilot episode will be filmed in April, with the remaining episodes done this summer. NK Telco will build the set that is used. We'll store the set. Their chef will use our kitchen for prep cooking. There'll be a small audience for each episode, and some of our culinary arts students will be helping the chef, and they're all very excited about this. This will be the new reality TV show. The interactive media class was recognized for creating a video for the Shelby County Soil and Water Conservation District. The video was shown at the Ohio Federation's annual meeting in Columbus, and this video has been recognized as one of the finalists for the Outstanding Education Program of the Year. Also, 13 members of the Upper Valley FFA chapter will receive their state degrees in May. 7 students, Mr. Larson, you'll be interested in this, 7 students from the Covington Ag program, which is one of our satellites, have been named finalists for State Proficiency Award, and this is only the second year for the Covington program. In response to new legislation requiring expansion of career technical education to 7th and 8th grade, Upper Valley has begun partnerships with many of the homeschools to provide that service for junior high students in those districts. Instructor Joe Spangler and 4 Business Professionals of America students will be attending the National BPA competition in Anaheim, California in May. And the 4 students qualified by placing either first or second in their skill areas in state competition. Jason Hawk, Scott Nail, and Tony Trapp are receiving the Excellence in Action Awards for the Architecture and Construction at their conference in Washington, D.C., and they'll also be presenting at that conference. Just a little summary of how Career Tech delivers for students. Currently, 95% of Career Tech adult students get jobs in their field of training. 98% of the Career Tech students in Ohio graduate. 50% of Career Tech students enroll in post-secondary education, and 62% are employed. So this is just some of the examples of good things that are happening at the Valley Career Center. Thank you.
Thank you. Lizzie. I mentioned earlier that we may jump around in the agenda, and this is where we're going to do that because the Ohio Revised Code requires a certain quorum, and that is it changes based on what the item is. So I'm going to ask at this point, Mr. Hiddle, do you have anything on your treasurer's report that you would like to speak about before we take any action on a treasurer's agenda item?
I was just going to discuss the fact that we're still looking at the budget, the governor's budget proposal.
I'll come back to you. I'm just asking if there's anything in your agenda that requires more than 3 board members to be present when we vote. I didn't think so.
I do not believe so.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask the superintendent in his report if there's something you'd like to cover before we need to take action on the superintendent's agenda.
Item number 2 on the agenda, superintendent's agenda, recommend board approval of the continued compliance with intra-district and inter-district open enrollment policies for the Piqua City School District. This is something we do annually. Just keep in mind, previously we were doing it for all of our schools. Now, with the intra-district policy, that would only be applicable to Washington primary and Spring Creek primary, because we do have two district buildings that serve the same grade level population. We do have to have the process in place for people to fill out applications if they're interested in going to one building rather than the other. In the past, we've always voted on this in March because I need to get it into ODE pretty quickly here. But basically, after tonight's approval, we would put applications for open enrollment from one primary building to the other one, and then office of the board office, and basically people can pick those up if they're interested. Usually what happens is they're processed in the middle of June with building principals and also our assistant superintendent. And then by the end of June, first week of July, we have the approvals or the denials in place. The one thing that's a little bit different this year is the fact that we have 2 new buildings that are identical. We also are completely redistricting, and we're completely redoing things. And keep in mind, Facility Advisory Committee wanted those buildings to be identical. We also redid the boundary so that we have similar socioeconomics in both buildings, similar ratios with everything from male-female to different subgroups of students. And so we balance it as much as possible. And so at this point, rolling into this, we probably will not be approving too many open enrollment applications, but we do want to give our public the opportunity if they want to. So this is both the inter-district open enrollment and intra-district open enrollment policies. I attached the form that I have to fill out and give to the state to this section of the agenda. We need the full majority in order to do this. So that is under superintendent's agenda G2. The other one is G8, recommend board approval of the attached resolution awarding contracts for the turn lane construction project that's in front of Spring Creek Primary on Route 36. Also the abatement and the demolition of Nickland, Wilder, High Street, Davidville, and Bennett school buildings. Those two need to be voted on. Mr. Patrizio.
I'll move to approve it.
Should we do those one at a time, Mr. Hill?
It would be preferred.
Okay. then I would like to then we have a motion to...
Actually, you can do both at the same time.
All right, we can do both at the same time. We have a motion, do we have a second to approve those two items?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion or question? Are you going to go back and cover the...
I will.
Okay.
Yes.
Nothing else then, Mr. Goodall, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Gregerson.
Aye.
Mr. Patrizio.
Aye.
Mr. Height.
Aye.
Mrs. Webster.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, and then we also have some items on the personnel agenda we're going to cover now.
You're just going to go through all of them. Yeah, let's go through the list.
I recommend the board approval of a 3-year administrative contract for school years 2015, 2016, 2016, 2017-18 for Sarah Devers, Chip Hare, Eric Heidenreich, Lorette Henderson, Anthony Lyons, and David Shellhouse. Recommend board approval of a 1-year administrative contract for the school year 2015-2016 for Connie Straley. Recommend board approval of the retirement resignation of Ken Piper, effective at the end of the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval of the retirement resignation of Tom Rozier, effective July 1st, 2015. Recommend board approval of the retirement resignation of William Neese, effective at the end of the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval of the retirement resignation of Tina Watts, effective at the end of the 2014-2015 school year. And on behalf of the district, we sincerely thank those who are retiring and some people who made a very big impact on Pickle City schools. Recommend board approval of the resignation of Jacob Newcomer from his position of 6th grade teacher at Washington Intermediate, effective March 11, 2015. Recommend board approval of the resignation of Paul Buckles from his position as English teacher at Pickle High School, effective June 1st, 2015. Recommend board approval of the resignation of Rebecca Garrett from her position of 1st grade teacher at Spring Creek Primary, effective at the end of the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval of the resignation of Terry Meyer from her position of food service director, effective March 19, 2015. Recommend board approval of Alexandra Sperling as science teacher at Pickle Junior High School, effective for the 2015-2016 school year. And I'm excited to announce that is our first hire for next school year. And I want to offer a thank you to Jeff Clark and his team, Dave Shellhouse as our representative for the science curriculum department. That is a very difficult position to fill. High school secondary science is a very competitive field for school districts to find quality candidates. So very excited to have that person on board for next school year. Recommend board approval of Sandy Mullen as a non-certificated instructional aide effective February 17, 2015. Recommend board approval of Jeff Lang, Kristen Monin, and Tracy Young as substitute teachers for the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval of Zane Bauman, Jennifer Forsythe, Victoria Stidham, and Ron Tilton as classified substitute custodians for the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval of April Dankworth as a classified substitute bus driver for the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval of the supplemental resignation of Russ Sponsel from the position of freshman baseball coach. Recommend board approval of the supplemental resignation of Jacob Newcomer from the position of assistant baseball coach. Recommend board approval of the attached list of supplemental contracts for the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval of Joe Bauman and Don McCoy as game workers for the 2014-2015 school year. Recommend board approval and thank you to the attached list of volunteers for the 2014-2015 school year.
Thank you so very much. That was a lengthy list. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve the personnel consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
And moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? I'd like to take the opportunity to certainly thank those who are retiring and have served the district as Mr. Larson did. Look forward to hearing what those folks are doing in the next chapter of their lives. If there's nothing further, then Mr. Biddle, if you'll please call the roll.
Mr. Height.
Aye.
Mr. Gregerson.
Aye.
Mr. Patrizio.
Yes.
Mrs. Webster.
Aye. Is there anything on the agenda this evening that will require 4 board members?
I think we're okay. So just
I hate to leave all of you.
It's okay. Good night. We hope you feel better. Thank you for making it this long. We actually started at 5 if you recall, so. Okay. Thank you to the audience as well for having a little patience with us this evening. I had no request to address the board regarding agenda items this evening, correct? Okay, then we'll move on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Biddle.
As Mr. Haynes alluded to, it is budget season in Ohio. The biannual budget has been proposed by the governor. No major changes at this point have been brought forward. We're keeping our eyes on it, and we'll keep everyone updated as we know. Things change, and there's definitely a large contingent of school districts that receive what's called a guarantee, which really equals they get more money than what they need to operate their school districts, and they're getting their lobbyists out in full effect to be able to keep a hold of that money. The state of Ohio, when they do the formula, says that Pickle City Schools needs $20 million, and we're getting about 15 of that, so we're about $5 million short. So we're on the other side of the spectrum where we're saying we would like to see our district become fully funded versus the districts that are getting more money than what the formula says they need. So we'll keep you up to date as that unfolds, but it's something interesting to watch. Financially, the update that I have for this evening is basically we are on target to complete our 8th year in the black. I've talked about this in our state of the schools. We continue to monitor for spending and savings. One of the changes that we just did today was switching from using what's called OnBase to using another software program that actually will store our documents electronically. We've been paying about $12,000 a year for that. We found a way to spend about $7,000 a year, which will become $3,000 a year in year 2, to do the same exact thing, but actually even have OCR capabilities so we can search records, which is something that we want to be able to do, especially with our minutes. So just it's a constant, reevaluating the systems that we're using and how we can save money, and this is a way that we're actually going to end up getting a more efficient system and save money at the same time. So it's going to pan out pretty well for us to do. Are there any questions on the reports that I attached this evening? Again, we are on target, and the only thing to point out is that our property receipts, tax receipts, will be coming in this month, and then we'll have a report on that next month. The next thing on my agenda is setting the medical plan for the Affordable Care Act. Our plan year is currently in place from September 15th around to September 15th to September 14th of the next year. It's a little bit off. It's a little bit off staggered wise, but we need to officially accept that as what our plan year is for now. I do have a meeting tomorrow, hopefully, to get that adjusted so that we can end up with a January 1st, especially with having HSAs in the district now. That becomes more important to match up to the tax year. So the intent is to get us to a January 1st. So we'll probably be voting on this again at some point in the future to reset our look-back period and all those kind of things. So January 1st is hopefully where we're going to end up at, but this is for September 15th. The tax rates for tax year 15, we received the information from the Budget Commission. Our tax rates are pretty steady. Our values went down a little bit, but overall, our property tax revenues should remain stagnant. There should be very little change. It should be in $40,000 to $50,000 one way or the other. So it'll be very close to what we're currently receiving. My hope is that we're at the bottom of the values decreasing, and we start seeing those come back up and tick back upwards. So we're doing well financially. So if we do see that swing in values coming back up, I think that just bodes well for the future. So, are there any questions about anything on my agenda?
Okay, hearing none, I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's agenda as presented. Can I have a second?
Second.
Any Further questions or discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Hiddle, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Height.
Aye.
Mr. Gregerson.
Aye.
Mrs. Webster.
Aye. We'll move on to item F on the agenda, the superintendent's report.
The first item is Street 8 grant, and I'd like to bring Diane Crawford to the podium. Diane is the business education director for PBS here at Dayton, and also has connected us to PBS Boston with the project that we're doing with Street 8 grant. Just a reminder that this is something that we've been talking about for a long time. 2 weeks ago, Mr. Hybright and Teresa Anderson and myself met with the teachers that are piloting. We have 6 classrooms currently piloting at the beginning of this training grant. We're excited about that. Those 6 classrooms already received Chromebook laptops, which Eric will be passing around to board members and people in the audience to take a look at. And also, what we're planning on doing is basically next year, all of our kindergarten and first grade students will have a Chromebook at school, so it's one-on-one at school. They'll also have a Chromebook to take home. And the idea behind this whole grant is to beef up the literacy awareness and also support that our parents have at home. So with that, Diane, you're welcome to start talking about REACH.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for this chance to speak to you. It's really a privilege to be here because I'm a Miami County resident and I get to bring the resources of public television right here into the county, into our local schools where I raise my kids as well. So it's just a great thing. REACH stands for Reading Expands All Children's Horizons. This is a grant as, so double clicked here, let me go back. Let me learn to work the system here. There. It's a, as Rick said, it's a literacy initiative for kindergarten and first graders. This is designed to improve reading scores, reading achievement in our local schools by engaging parents as 21st century learning partners with their children. We know that kids come into kindergarten with a disparity in just all different kinds of reading skill levels. It's difficult for a teacher to meet all the needs of each child. So REACH is intended to engage parents. The Straight A Fund, which is the governor's innovation fund, has for many hundreds of millions of dollars has approved our grant. We were one of the top funded grants. We were about number 13 in the amount of money in round 2 received, and we had a perfect score. $2.1 million brings laptops to the 3 schools that worked as part of the grant: Pickwa City Schools, Milton Union Exempted Village Schools, and Franklin Monroe Schools in Dark County. We have a large, a medium, and a small district all working together. We're going to do a lot of assessment through just general scores to see if they increase over the next 5 years by engaging parents at home with their children one-to-one with reading. One of the premises of this grant is that if we can show parents how to extend reading practice at home that mimics what goes on in the classroom, it will not only support the teachers but even and their children, but it'll also be good for the families as well. So we have a lot of things going on here. We're very excited. The Ohio State University's Crane Center for Early Childhood Research and Policy is peeking in on our project at certain checkpoints. And also Wright State University's Center for Evaluation Research is working to do the assessments that will be kind of buried into these at-home modules. Public Media Connect, Big TV. I am the Manager of Education Services for the Dayton and Cincinnati PBS markets, and a lot of people don't realize that we are all about education. That's what public television is about. And so we're really excited to bring the resources from PBS, from WGBH in Boston, and from PBS Learning Media, which is one of the largest digital content libraries designed just for teachers to use in classrooms. It's commercial-free, it's safe and trusted, and all that kind of good stuff. So that was my little commercial, but it's really an honor as an educator to do this. What I really am proud of is that the REACH interactive lessons will be 32 interactive lessons, 16 for kindergartners and 16 for first graders. They are being designed locally by our best reading specialists and teachers in these 3 districts. We come together weekly and we figure out what content needs to go on the interactive lessons, not what parents, not that teachers are going to teach necessarily, although that we want to bring it from the classroom. What do kids need to drill on? What skills do they need to do? And what do parents need to know? So we're kind of engaging parents and children and teaching everyone for how to make parents be their children's at-home teachers. So it's anytime, anywhere. We're hosting all the interactive lessons online through PBS Learning Media, which is a free service available to anyone in the country. So this program is going national. It's online right now. The first reading module for the very first book written by a local specialist is on there, and it is called The Alphabet. So if you want to check it out, you go to pbslearningmedia.org. You would create your own login, which we don't collect any data of any importance. It's not one of those types of things. You're not going to get a bunch of junk mails. And then you can search Reach, and you can track our progress. You will see a lot of work in progress. We're not to be completed with the 32 modules. They don't have to be done until June. And we're going to take every bit of that. Let me tell you, it's a big undertaking. It's going to be really fantastic. It's being watched nationally. It's being watched by Corporation for Public Broadcasting and Public Media, or PBS. It's also being watched by the governor's office and by a lot of the local districts that we're having a lot of exposure from this. And I hope that kids are the winners here. No matter what's happening, I hope the kids just enjoy it so much. I want to show you an excerpt. One of the really difficult things to find, and I'm sure you could check me on this, is to find content for kindergartners about the nonfiction subjects, such as how to use a table of contents, how to find your way through a book. There aren't too many cool stories for kids who can't read about these really boring, dry subjects. This is called informational text. And so because we've been unable to find resources through a PBS network, we had to create some of our own. And so I'm going to show you a little video clip. We're creating 6 reading lessons around a little guy named Iota. And Iota, I'm not going to have to tell you the backstory. There is no backstory. The kids will be fine with it if the adults really want to know. But Iota is only about the size of a cell phone, and he lives in the library, and he's a real character. He's a young man from Stivers School, and we have a lot of children working in our studios and doing this production weekends and evenings. So if I can get that clip up here, it's just about a 1-minute clip, and I'll give you the setup before we play it. Iota has come across the amazing book of facts.
Table of contents.
Can we hold off? The amazing book of facts is a gigantic book, and he's actually standing on it. We're coming into segment 2. The setup is that Iota is all about whales. He loves whales, and he found out the amazing book of facts, which is a lion. His face is talking on the cover. He just introduced Iota to the table of contents, and the book actually grew table legs and rose up off the table in the library, and Iota's standing on it looking at the table of contents. And so we'll pick up here where he's all excited because he just figured out he's going to get to use this book to find more facts, and he's going to learn his way through a book. So let's take a look.
Is that the chapter on whales is on page 22. Let's go there and find out. Here we are, a whole chapter about whales. Ooh, what's that?
Read the caption.
Huh?
Read the caption.
Caption? What's a caption?
I'm a caption. Captain Caption's the name.
What do you do?
Why, I help you to know what the heck you're looking at. For instance, the picture above may look like just any whale, but actually, it's a humpback whale.
Humpback? I didn't know there were different kinds of whales.
Well, I'm glad you looked at the caption. Tell you what, boy. Meet me on the next page, and I'll show you all sorts of whales.
play on the interactive lessons on the kids' Chromebooks, and in between each segment, we will work with the actual pictures that you see in there. We'll have the picture of that humpback whale. We'll show captions. We'll let the kids interact with it with their parents. And what's really neat is that we're not lecturing people, and parents and kids on what this is. They're just working with it. And so they walk away from each lesson knowing it because they just did it. That's what interactive learning is all about. And so we've been doing this at PBS for years through things like Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and, electric company and all that. And then we can bring those resources, some of those as well as this type of material to the kids. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We're working as fast and hard as we can to get things rolled out. We have 32 of these, and each student will get it home with their parents for about, we're estimating 2 weeks at a time. So they have a lot of time to work through these modules. It's a supplement to the whole idea where you would go home and read 15 minutes with your kids. Well, this is something a little more fun and exciting and interactive they can all do, and they can learn some keywords and things that are happening right in the classroom and get it on home. And we're hoping it's going to really help the teachers reach out to all the kids wherever they are. So, any questions?
Also, our people that are working on the project with Diane, Teresa Anderson, also Sarah Atkinson and Tina Watts have spent many hours working on the project, along with teaching staff from Milton Union and teaching staff from Franklin Monroe. So I appreciate all their efforts also. And this has been a fun project, and this really started out, Dwayne Thompson, Dwayne, and a couple other people helped to write a grant on reading initiative a few years ago that basically brought Gordon Gillingham to our district, that also started teaming us up. And Jenny Randall, the superintendent at Milton Union, we kind of taught together at the same time in different districts. We were middle school principals at the same time, and then have been in board offices at the same time. And that relationship between the two of us and getting to meet Diane, working on the project itself, $2.1 million, the total project. About $1.2 million is coming to Piqua out of this, and it's been a good work, and I'm excited we have the pilots in place, but also looking very forward to next year when, as I said, every kindergartner basically is one-on-one with technology next year, every first grader the same way. Eric's done a good job of stretching the budget, and we think when all is said and done, we're going to have at least classroom sets of Chromebooks, so one-to-one for every K through 3 student in our primary buildings, which is phenomenal. So that $1.2 million is being put to good use. PBS has been great to work with, and Teresa, I appreciate the effort you, Tina, and Sarah have put into it, because I know this has been a lot of hard work. But our goal, we always talk about how can we further reach our parents and our students at home? How can we continue all the learning that's going on during the day? This is the first thing that we have, besides, we've been sitting book bags home for a long time with book selections, but this brings us up to speed with what's going on out in the real world and using technology. So Diane, thanks for being here, and I appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you, Diane, on behalf of the board for coming this evening and sharing with us. We have heard so much about the grant and the things that are going on behind the scenes, but it's the first time we've seen, I think, a clip, actually, and the actual Chromebooks. So thank you for sharing those as well, Erica. I'd like to have one. I think all of us would. So we are so excited about this grant, and again, as Mr. Haynes said, thank you to all those who are working on it, and look forward to hearing even more. And thank you, certainly, Mr. Haynes, for your leadership on this grant. Being able to bring $1.2 million to the district is an amazing accomplishment. And we certainly do appreciate that and look forward to seeing the results and for the benefit of our kids.
My voice is going now. Sorry. Item number 2, Community Connectors Grants. Just an FYI, we had a great opportunity with the state of Ohio, a very unusual grant that our governor has made available. The grant actually has to be ran through a nonprofit or a faith-based organization or a business. And this is the first time the name Community Connectors is a perfect name because our group first met as an awareness. I wanted to make our supporters out there in Piqua aware of a potential, because the grant is a 3-to-1 matching fund the first year. So for every dollar that we raise locally, 3 additional dollars come in. Year 2 is a 2-to-1 matching, and year 3 is a 1-to-1 matching. And so I put feelers out, and we had an initial meeting about probably a month and a half to 2 months ago, and wanted to see if we have interest in our community. The goal of the Community Connectors Grant is to provide mentors for our at-risk students in grades 5, 6, 7, 8. And the mentors are trained through different organizations. We decided to follow what's called Kids Hope USA, which is a national program that's out of Michigan. And Kids Hope USA does a good job of training mentors to come in and work with at-risk students. The sessions are 1 hour each week for the entire school year. They're either done before school, after school, or during lunch, so the goal is not to interrupt academic time. And basically, we were blessed with who responded. Basically, we have 5 businesses that are enrolled to help us out with this project and have committed dollars. Those companies are French Oil, Harmony Systems, Pickwa Steel and Crane, Trivista, and also Unity National Bank. We also had 2 nonprofits that joined with us, and that is Pickwa Juvenile Education Fund, and they're actually the group that sent in the grant, and they will be managing it. The YMCA is also on board with the grant, and then our 5 faith-based churches, which you have to have as part of the grant. We have Grace United Methodist Church, CLC Pickwa, Upper Valley Church, Westminster Church, and also Green Street Church. I know we've reached out to some other, both nonprofit and faith-based and businesses. We had to put this together so fast that basically it's one where some of the other groups wanted to hold off for a year. So we did put extension capabilities into the grant, or expansion capabilities into the grant if we want to do that. The grant basically is being read in April, and we should know sometime in April if we're a district that received it. Also, the great thing about this, once we got our group of people together, the churches decided that they're going to make this happen whether or not we have the grant. And that's a phenomenal statement of our churches and businesses here. So what we're looking at is 30 mentors coming in, trained as Kids Hope USA mentors who will work with 30 5th graders next year, 30 6th graders next year. In year 2, we would move up into the junior high, and 30 additional mentors would be added for junior high at 7th grade. And then in the 3rd year of the grant, we would move up into 8th grade. And so by the time we're finished with Community Connectors Grant, if we receive it, we would be going 5th grade through 8th grade, 30 students that are at risk being mentored to by trained mentors through Kids Hope USA. So a great project, and it brought people into a room together that have never been together, and that was part of the connection process also. So that's been fun to work on, and I wanted the community to be aware of the behind-the-scenes work going on there. Any questions on Community Connectors?
I'll just share that the information that you have made the board aware of is that this may very well be something that we've been looking for a long time.
Yes.
The churches are willing to provide the coordination for the volunteers, and that may be the way we go. I know a number of board members have been very vocal about finding a way to help some kids who need that extra little input and guidance. So look forward to hearing more from you on this. And again, this is part of the governor's budget, right?
This is part of the governor's
budget
yes.
proposal. So
actually, this one was approved last year, but
okay.
So money is there.
All right, great. Look forward to hearing more about that.
Item number 3 is countdown to kindergarten. We completely revamped the kindergarten registration process this year. Huge thank you to Loretta Henderson, principal of the Nicklin building, and also Teresa Anderson and Mindy Gerhardt. Also Kim Piper and myself were on the core committee to really look at how we do kindergarten registration. We moved it up much earlier than what we normally have in the past. And part of that was so that we could get class lists done. We also could get transportation finished and also get registration completed as quickly as possible. As of today, we had over 190 parents that have connected us about kindergarten registration and have requested packets. And I'll remind you, at this time last year, basically, we were just getting started, and we already have 190. We actually had 60 kindergarten students completely registered, all paperwork in place, which is another phenomenal number at this point of the year. We've had 4 kickoffs, and I appreciate the kindergarten staff We had 2 kickoffs at Washington and 2 kickoffs at Spring Creek. We had some fun time with it. Loretta read a book while some of us had crayons hanging from our neck. That dealt with getting along. We also opened the session with singing and dancing the Wheels on the Bus. If you're happy and you know it. And I'm missing one. Teresa, help me. Hokey Pokey. And so if you ever want to see your superintendent or building principals or teachers singing those 3 songs, come to the kindergarten kickoff because it was an enjoyable time and great to have new buildings. Our 4 themes are our 4 themes for this year that is really hard for other districts and other entities that offer kindergarten to compete with us. First of all, we have new buildings. Secondly, for the first time in our history, we are offering everyday kindergarten for every kindergarten student, which is all day, which is phenomenal, because that's something that I know 9 years ago the board asked me to get a full day, every day, all day, as quickly as we can. And we're there now with the new buildings. Third thing, getting a laptop one-on-one and also being able to send one home is a phenomenal thing. And then the fourth thing, we have a great staff. And, when they're singing and dancing in front of the students and the students coming down and joining us, it's just an example of what our kindergarten staff do to make sure kids feel comfortable, make sure the parents understand that they have loving people who are going to take care of their children. So it's been a great experience so far. And just a reminder to the public, if there's anyone out there with a kindergarten eligible child, please call my office and we'll get you started on countdown kindergarten. So, questions on that? Okay. Next, reading, writing, and math student achievement updates, and we have Dwayne and also Dave will be joining up after.
I will not be doing a song and dance. So I'm clear about that. This is a good time of the year to start thinking about reflecting on what we've done, where we're heading next year, making some improvements on some of the work that we're doing. And Kim Piper and I have been working together about thinking about our really early literacy pieces and how they're working, because we've done the working pieces that you've heard over the last couple of years, so we want to see how that's going. And we decided to meet with some teachers and some administrators throughout the district and got some representation in so that we can start having some discussions about that. So we talked about our district goal, which is students reading on track by 3rd grade, and we did some data that was revealing where those students were and trying to figure out how we're achieving that goal. We talked about the impact of the curriculum resources that we've chosen and put in place over the last few years and how our students and teachers and parents are responding to those. We discussed about meeting the needs of all of our students, where they are in their understanding and abilities of reading, whether they're lower or higher achievers. We established what kind of data that we want to record next year so that we can monitor and analyze our progress. The group talked about how we want to pace out that work. We want to do it by quarters next year so that we really have those benchmarks in place so we can look at mastery quarterly versus throughout the whole year. Took us some longer times to get through some of the important pieces this year. We really wanted to kind of break that in smaller chunks and look at that data quarterly so that we were really kind of pacing that out much better. So I'm going to be meeting with the Title I teachers here in a little bit, and we're going to put together kind of a master benchmark piece, and then we're going to share that out to the K-3 teachers and get some feedback from them and really finalize that by the end of the school year. They talked about some professional development that they thought would be really important to have next year, so working on those pieces and trying to think ahead in terms of what we can do to support the teachers as they continue to roll out our early literacy plan. This committee wants to continue working together. They're really enthusiastic. They really appreciated that time. And, so they really wanted to continue to be representation so that we can monitor as we're moving through. And then yesterday I went with Mindy Gearhart to a statewide 3rd grade reading guarantee connecting the dots piece. And we learned a lot about updates that the state has in place for 3rd grade guarantee and early literacy. And we brought back some great resources that we've already started sharing out with the other principals, K-3, and we're going to pull those pieces together as part of our professional development next year because there were some great pieces there being able to benefit our students. So we're excited about that work. So, any questions about our literacy? Okay, thank you.
Good evening. Just a math update on Eureka. Noticed in my board report that the data really hasn't changed much, but there was a significant, happening from a national standpoint. There was a nonprofit organization called Ed Reports that actually evaluated all of the math curriculum from all the publishers, K-8, and they evaluated them on the alignment to the standards and the usability. And it was about a year ago now that we started looking for a math program, last year. And I remember being at many curriculum meetings and people were asking, what are we going to use? And all the publishers' names came up, and everybody was saying they're going to go with this publisher or this publisher. And as we had some teachers piloting Eureka and we heard some good things, that's the direction we chose to go. And it was nice to see this report come out where actually the only curriculum of all of the ones that they evaluated that scored as meeting the criteria for alignment and usability was Eureka Math. So, I think that is a testament to the program that we have here at Pickle. I think that's going to create some major emphasis in our math program. We're already seeing some of that. I think I've talked with some teachers that are really starting to understand the power of the program. I think the initial shock is worn off, and I hope the parents are feeling the same way. I'm continuing to update the parent resource site to make sure that as I find new resources and videos for parents, those are there on the site as well. But I think as we move forward, we're going to meet. I'm going to try to bring the grade level math teachers together at the end of this year so we can have a discussion about what went well, what didn't, and then what we need to do to make adjustments for next year to keep the momentum going so that we can continue our journey through our math. So we were very happy to see that. I have some copies if you guys want somebody to get it on a report, but I can make those available to you. That you can kind of see where you notice there's a lot of red. Red's bad, and green is good. And you can see there's only one kind of green, and that's Eureka. So I think that's exciting to know, and I hope that gives our parents and our teachers some confidence about the program that we have here. Any questions?
Dave, I think you did share that information with the board.
Okay, yeah, I think it was in my report.
It wasn't in with your report, but I think it went out in a separate email. Rick sent it. And yes, I hope that does provide some comfort and eases some concerns for the parents and the staff and the kids. And it's interesting to start hearing about number ones out in the community now at work.
That's awesome.
So I think we're going to get there. Thank you.
And just a huge thank you to Dave and his team and Dwayne and his team, because we did an excellent job of getting to an excellent rating, and then new standards came out. And like all districts around Ohio, basically are challenged now with the new standards. The thing I appreciate about our team, our teaching team, and our curriculum team is the fact that we didn't sit back and watch it. Between Orton Willingham, which we started 3 years ago, and also with the new math program, we are aggressively tackling our gaps in education, especially with reading, writing, and math. And I greatly appreciate the work that they're doing. When Dave says that he's updating the parent website, he spends many hours. And I appreciated the fact that I think he's heard it, and I know I've heard it. During the park testing, Dave had some information on YouTube about the park. And there are people out there that thought Dave actually was Park at one point because no one else was answering questions, and Dave was putting information out there. So it gives you an idea of the quality of people that we have working here at Pickle City Schools and staying front of what we need to be doing on the curriculum and academic world. Item number 5, primary building boundaries. Just a couple things. As we moved into this year, we talked a lot about the fact that we would have holding patterns with some of our buildings this year. The best example is Nicklin Kindergarten Center is in holding pattern the entire year. Students did not move at all. They won't move until the fall when they enter first grade. Favorite Hill has been in holding pattern where the entire year, basically, they have been there and will continue there, and then we'll move to the new buildings next year. The other things that have happened, though, with the fact that we were able to move into buildings, Spring Creek did move in, the old Spring Creek population did move into the new Spring Creek, and also we had the High Street primary school move up into the Washington primary school. But those students are also in holding pattern from the standpoint that we were looking at boundaries, and the board approved the boundaries back in November, and basically from that point, when we said, look, there are some students that currently are at Spring Creek, who next year, because of the boundary, will be at the Washington Primary School, and vice versa. We'll have some students who are currently at the Washington Primary School that will be at Spring Creek next year because of the redistricting. And it's one of those where we're making sure, some folks started realizing this during kindergarten registration, that their kindergarten registering was going to be maybe at Spring Creek, but their other student was already at a primary at Washington. Well, next year those students will be together both at Spring Creek. That's the way it's working. So just want to make people aware of that, and I appreciate all the students that, the Favorite Hill students and Nicholas students, haven't gotten to experience the new buildings yet. Neither have their teachers experienced new buildings. The 6th grade class at all the intermediates, especially though at Washington, the 6th grade class there have been in the trailers or learning chalets for close to 2 years. They're not going to experience the new buildings at all. They're going to basically move into the junior high after being in learning chalets for 2 years. So when you think about the students that were in the toughest holding pattern, it was the 6th grade students, because the 4th and 5th grade students currently at Washington Intermediate will get to experience the new buildings. So it's one of those where we're working with families closely and working with the boundaries, and as we've registered kindergarten students, we'll continue doing that. But it's one of those years where when you're building and you move half a year, like I said, we're going to have some holding pattern type statuses we have, and we'll continue working through that. Questions on that?
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
There are some of those students who are in Spring Creek building who may have to go to Washington or vice versa next year. Will we be notifying them after bus routes are set, or at what point?
Great question. Once we get back from spring break, building principals have asked if I could send a backpacker out explaining what I just explained here, and then basically that will have the new boundary, and they can look and see where their child is. And we'll have, at the board office, we have a complete list that is every address that we have, and they can call the board office also to get that information. So we're 2 people just got back from Transfinder training. That was Kurt South and also Kurt Montgomery. They are now starting the process of putting the transportation together for next year. So that will take most of April and the beginning of May. Our goal is to have transportation assignments out by the end of the year. And again, that never has been done before. Usually it's August when we're setting that out. So we're trying to be very proactive and progressive with getting things out early.
Thank you.
Number 6, open enrollment policy. We already talked about that. Number 7, STEM partnership with Upper Valley Career Center. Jeff Clark, I would have talking about this, but basically he is with students receiving an award tonight. This is the partnership that is part of Menlo Park this year at the 7th grade level, and we had the presentation at the beginning of the year. We put in a STEM exploration class for all 7th graders this year, and that was in conjunction with the Upper Valley Career Center. That has gone extremely well. For next year, we are looking at adding a STEM elective class for those students who want to continue the work that they started this year with STEM exploration. So we will be receiving another teacher from Upper Valley Career Center to do that elective class. And so we'll have STEM courses now at 7th grade for all students, at 8th grade as an elective, and then we have the STEM going on up into the high school. So the Career Center has been a great partner with 7th and 8th grade. Also, we're looking at completely converting one of the old tech programs in the 500 wing. We have a new staff member there by the name of Jeremy Kettering. And Jeremy, working with Rob Boisard and also working with Jason Hawk at the Career Center and adding Tony Lyons and myself, we basically are looking at revamping that entire room, bringing in new equipment. The Career Center is going to put about $187,000 worth of new tables, new equipment, new computer technology equipment to upgrade that classroom, and that is becoming a pre-engineering classroom. He'll offer 4 different types of courses that are really attractive to students who are interested in robotics, and it will complement the robotics that we already have here in the 500 wing, but also we'll take it a little further. I know the 4th year, he is really looking at 2 types of pre-engineering courses. One is very much mechanical engineering, and again, all this is being done in partnership Our promise that I made to the Career Center is we will look at new flooring, we will paint the room, and add additional covered space for them. But again, the Career Center is putting in a large sum of money to help us create that environment that needs to be created back there. And when I talk about Menlo Park Cute, you'll see signage over the summer and next year that 500 wing, with what we're doing with robotics, with what we're doing with physics down here now, and a different room, and then this additional course with the Career Center. This is truly the Menlo Park STEM school that we're talking about. So we're now going 7th grade all the way up through 12th grade with us, Career Center on board, and also Edison Community College on board with their pre-engineering. So some great stuff going on with Menlo Park Cute. Building project update. Sal, step up.
Good evening. We continue to track with the construction project on time and on budget. We just opened bids for the turn lane and for the demolition of the current buildings, which was already voted on, the resolution to enter into a contract. But our bids came in very well, and we're right where we need to be financially. So we're on schedule and on budget. Has always been our goal, and we continue to be there. We continue to have our daily, weekly, monthly meetings. Continue to have our junior builders meetings. We have one of those tomorrow where our students will come to the Piqua Central Intermediate building and get a tour, and their main focus now is to concentrate on the intermediate building, and with our dedication that's planned for June 28th of this year from 2 to 4. To give you an update on what's happening at Spring Creek, demolition of the old building is almost complete. They're taking out the foundations and the floor slab, and they're filling that in with gravel, and that gravel is being tested by our testing agent, CTL, to make sure we have the compaction that's necessary, because there will be built the rest of the parking lot as soon as the weather breaks. And then just another image of that to give you an idea of what's happening out there. The contractors that we have, the abatement contractor, of course, they're finished. That was EDG out of Cincinnati, and then demolition is Russ James out of Zanesville, and they're doing a nice job for us. At the intermediate building, the gym floor has been delivered, and they're starting to put that in. They also have some of the paint and some of the wall graphics done in the gym, so it's starting to take shape. This is a little bit difficult to show, but the kitchen flooring is being put in, and that's an epoxy floor that's kind of a paint, so the tan color is the base color, and then they put in kind of like sand granules to give it the blue color. And it's those are the same floor that we have at Washington and Spring Creek also. One of the other milestones is the cabinetry inside the building, and we have lockers in the classrooms, not in the corridors. We're using the corridors as extended learning space. We have metal lockers at the intermediate building as opposed to the wood grain that we have at the primary level. And then just for everybody, our contractors that are working on our project, I won't go through all of them, but they're really working well together and working well with us to get the building finished on time. Upcoming events, turn lane at Spring Creek. I haven't mentioned that yet this evening, but that was also bid just recently, and that was one of the resolutions that we had this evening. But we'll have starting to see some work on the sides of the road, and then once school is let out, there'll be quite a bit of activity at Spring Creek yet this year. Then decommissioning of the current buildings, that's scheduled for this summer, and we have some dates that we'll be sharing here in the near future as to the commemoration ceremonies where the buildings will be open to the public for one last time. Any questions about the building project? All right. If I can move on, Mr. Haynes, to the next item on the agenda. It's been previously mentioned briefly this evening about bus routes. Kurt Montgomery and I are working with TransFinder. They're the company that's providing the software that we use to determine all the routes for all the buses for this year. And that is in progress, and they are coming to us from Schenectady, New York, the first part of April. We're going to spend 3 solid days trying to get everything worked out, and then have the routes ready for May of this year so that everybody is clear as to what's going on, where the bus stops are, and what bus number you ride. So, any questions?
By the end of May?
By the end of May, yes.
Thanks, Kurt.
Thank you.
Number 10 is the enrollment chart that was attached, and does anyone have any questions on that? Number 11, a partnership that started the first year I was here, a gentleman by the name of Bob Hartzell, who was a military person from the United States that ended up in the Philippines and has stayed there. 9 years ago, he was talking to me about the potential of having some connection and helping them, because he was in the process of starting a new international school called Noblesse International School. And back then, we provided some just words of wisdom and curriculum. At the time, it was Neil Long, and also Dwayne was helping somewhat with how they could get started. They talked with Bob and also the headmaster last week, and actually Skyped to the Philippines, and enjoyed basically, they are now 125 students. They were looking at adding some international baccalaureate programming, and also the biggest reason for connecting me this time was they want to do some sister school activities with us, having our students communicate back and forth and do some work that way. Bob Hartzell will be back this summer, and he and the headmaster are planning to stop here at the city schools. And we're looking forward to some, what I want to say, new age pen pal, I guess is what this would be, partnership-wise. So that's something that has continued over the past few years, and it's been exciting to have another school modeling some things that we're doing very good. Calamity Day updates, so just a reminder, we have 1 day left. We have not exhausted our calamity days based on the snow this week. I was going to get into Wonder. Also, we have blizzard bands that were approved last month if we need to go to that. So we're in good shape at this point. Under other, just first of all, a huge thank you to all the people who participated in our State of the Schools. We ran 2 of them, 7:30 in the morning on Tuesday and 7:30 in the evening. And all the business and community people that stepped out, I greatly appreciate you coming to those to keep up to date on what's going on here. We do have that on our website, so if you did miss State of the Schools, you're welcome to go to our website, www.piqua.org, and you can take a look at the State of the Schools, and I appreciate Mr. Fiddle, who helps deliver that state. And lastly, we recognize some people at the beginning. It has been a very successful winter for our students, and both on the academic side, but also on the extracurricular side. Just a few of those, Hunter Bryant, Ike Karn, we just already talked about, also Colton Bachman. But the Science Olympiad team, Piqua High School qualified for state. The Invention Convention teams qualified for state. Ohio History Day, we had students qualified for state. Destination Imagination has qualified for state. Symphonic Band qualified for state. Concert Choir qualified for state. And the Men's Choir qualified for state also. And so there have been many successes on the academic and also on the performance side. Huge congratulations to all those folks, and we'll have some more resolutions to do at the next month on some of these groups as they participate at state. And with that, that's it for my report.
Thank you so very much. How about if we move then to item 3 on the superintendent's agenda?
We need to do item 1 first.
You're right, I crossed off the wrong one, sorry.
Number 1, recommend board approval of the attached list of library and technology equipment for disposal and removal from the inventory of the Piqua City School District. And I appreciate Eric and his staff for making sure we salvaged every usable part if we could. Item number 3, recommend board approval of the 2015 pre-K through 3 summer school program as follows. It's a Monday through Thursday, July 20th through August 13th.
and also 8:30 to 11:30 at Washington Primary School. And I appreciate Wayne Thompson's work on that. Next month, he'll have the list of staff members for us who will be doing this program. Item number 4, recommend board approval of the Ohio graduation test summer intervention as follows: June 8th through the 12th and June 15th through the 19th from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Pickle High School. Thank you to Dave Shellhouse, who has been working with staff members to make this happen. And again, at our next council meeting, he'll have personnel ready to go for that. Number 5, recommend board approval of the attached list of donations, another healthy list. We appreciate everyone who is going after monies besides the general fund to bring programming here to Pickle. Item number 6, recommend board approval of the 2015 Pickle High School Summer School Program for grades 9 through 12, running from June 1st through June 19th. 2 sessions offered, 7:30 to 11:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And again, thanks to Dave Shellhouse for arranging that. Item number 7, recommend board approval of the overnight trip for the Pickle High School Science Olympiad team, April 10th through the 11th, to participate in the State Science Olympiad competition. And we received as an attachment the information filled out by Brandon Lytle, our counselor for that. And then that takes care of superintendent's agenda.
Would the gentleman like to make a motion to accept the superintendent's?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Mr. Hiddle, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Gregerson.
Aye.
Mr. Height.
Aye.
Mrs. Webster.
Aye. We've done the personnel consent agenda, and then moving on to old business, correct? Is that all right?
Correct.
All right. I'd like to share with us your thoughts this evening about strategic planning review.
Just a reminder to public, there will be an announcement out probably beginning of next week on the website asking for input on the strategic plan, also on the belief statements, also on the taxpayers' bill of rights, because we'll be updating all of those documents in the next few months. The goal is to have all those completed revision-wise by the end of June and for the June meeting. We also will be sending out an email to all staff members, and our principals have already engaged principals advisory committees with parents on this process of getting input from the parents. So we continue down the strategic planning mode, and I'll continue sending you things as we receive them.
Thank you for attaching the belief statements there as opposed to vote. We discussed the finance planning policy as well last month, I believe, briefly.
Correct.
Is there an update on that?
There is an update. What I did, and it's as an attachment, basically we asked Neola, and also we asked a couple of other districts to supply their current policies. If you remember, this is coming into existence now because for 2 times now we have asked Moody's, how else can we potentially raise our rating? We received a very good rating, but there are some other districts that have a higher rating. And one of the things was that they mentioned that you need a finance planning policy. They said your current administrators and your current board are making sure that we live within our budget and we have carryover, but they need something in board policy in order to give us credit for that, because they don't want it just to be practice of one administrative team and the current board. And so I have what our current 6210 and the board documents is listed here on that examples that I gave you. I also gave you an example of Xenia's cash balance reserve policy, and I gave you an example of Hilliard's cash balance reserve policy, and also Wacona, Minnesota, which is a superintendent that I met at the Midwest Superintendents Association. Also, you have Lakota's. And so what Jeremy and I did, we looked carefully at all of these and others, but we only gave you examples of a few. And then there's the recommendation of policy at the very top right beneath our current. And basically it says the Board of Education shall collect and assemble the information necessary to discharge its responsibility for fiscal management of the school district and to plan for the financial needs of the educational program. The board will strive toward maintaining both short and long-range projections
of district financial requirements. According to the board directs the treasurer to include cost estimates and all ongoing financial requirements, maintain a plan of anticipated local, state, and federal revenues, report to the board any serious financial implications that emerge from the district's ongoing fiscal planning. In addition, the board directs the treasurer to maintain annually a detailed 5-year projection of estimated revenues and expenditures as required by Policy 6231. The board further affirms and declares it to be the financial philosophy of the board to maintain a general fund cash balance equivalent to at least 2 months or 60 days of operating expenditures. This is in association with the Government Finance Officers Association guidelines, known as GFO. We have been trying to maintain a balance of 80 to 100 days, 120 days, and we currently are sitting around 111, correct? And so this gets into writing 60. We wanted to give you the opportunity to take a look at this. We're not asking for a vote at this evening's meeting. We're looking more at providing the research that we have done. And at this point, if we follow what GFOA says, it should be a cash reserve balance of at least 60. That's the way it goes. So I want to give that information to you, give you time to think about it, and then basically our recommendation, though, is sometime here in the spring or early summer, have a cash reserve policy in place. And that's where we need to think is 60 the right number for Pickle City Schools. Do we want to bump it up a little bit? And I would recommend, and I think both of us recommend, that we don't go below what GFOA is saying, which is 60. So we wanted to give you a starting point, and this is policy that we can work on here in the next couple of months. Questions on what's before you? Okay.
Move on then to new business if there are no other topics under old business to come before the board this evening.
The first item is board approval of the first read of the following board policies. You had all of those in your packet, plus a description of them from me with Neola. It's that time of the year. We look at all the laws that have been passed since the last time we did revision, and these are laws that started basically in October, being passed up until now. A lot of the things you notice are revisions, and it's just language changes based upon current law. AG and the Administrative Guidelines 8400A, threat assessment and intervention. This is a new policy and a new guideline basically that we have been doing. We have threat assessment teams in all of our buildings. That came to be with our work with Chief Jamison. And so this is one that the guideline is easy for us because we already have the threat assessment teams and actually have utilized several of the buildings, the threat assessment team in conjunction with mental health, with the police, with the guidance team here, staff here, and also our building principals here. And so that one is a new one that we can easily put into place. Another new one is policy 2413, which is career advising. This goes along with the whole idea of career and college ready. It's kind of enjoyable because when I read this, this is very similar, and Andy, you might remember this when you taught career education and career advising back then. Just a couple of years ago we had to do, and it has rotated back around, kind of fallen off the landscape for about a decade, and about 5 years ago it started coming back. The good news with this is the high school guidance team, the junior high guidance team are already doing a lot of this, plus we already have a K through 12 career and college readiness plan, and so again, this is easy for the city schools to put it in place. Policy number 6108 is a new policy, and it's authorization to make electronic fund transfers, and that's one that affects the treasurer's office, and he has seen this and reviewed it. And then the rest are dealing with administrative guidelines, but the other policies that are in this list for first read are revisions with minor language changes. So if there's no other questions, I won't go into severe detail. Okay.
Look at those at our leisure, and we do have 2 more readings on those in the next couple of months. And this evening, you'd like to discuss the property and liability insurance consultant.
Yeah, we owe to Jeremy and I have both been working on this, but Jeremy, if you want to do the details of
Rick and I met with Tom from School Insurance Consultants. He has 115 schools that he works with to basically work with 5 different vendors that he has access to get us a better rate than what we're currently paying on our property and liability insurance. We're with Sorsa currently, and we were a founding member of that group. There's been a lot of changes and shifts in what's happening, and our claims rate ratio is very low. It's below 17%. And what that ends up equating to is that Pickwick City Schools is helping to finance everyone else who has higher losses. And so we're in a position where we believe, looking at the data that we've gotten from other districts who've gotten quotes recently, that we could save close to $100,000 by making the switch. It's very substantial, and so even though we were a founding member of that organization, we may have outgrown it, or it's changed enough to where it may not be the best thing for the district to do. So using this consulting service is basically like what we do with RAND, who goes out on a yearly basis and checks the rates for our health insurance plans. This will be doing the same thing for our property and liability insurance rates. So it's something that I think Rick and I discussed, and we feel like this is the best avenue for us. It doesn't mean we are leaving Sorsa. It just means that we're going to bring all the numbers to the table and it'll give us the information, and we can use this gentleman's services to be able to do that.
And you have an attachment that has basically information on the school insurance consultants company, and also lists all of the current districts that are using their services, and there are some very close to us that are already under contract with this consulting firm. So we just want to bring you aware of what we're working on with liability and casualty insurance.
This does not require board action, correct?
It does not at this point.
Thank you for the update. Any other questions? Thank you, Jeremy. Then we'll move on to item 3 in the new business. Mr. Haynes?
Item number 3, as we saw earlier with personnel consent, we have the retirement resignation of Bill Neese and also of Tina Watts. In talking with these 2 individuals, first of all, Bill is one of our American history teachers. When you look at the percentage of students that he has who passes the Ohio graduation test, it's phenomenal. It's always in the 90s. Usually it's 96, 97% that he has a passage rate. Tina Watts is a phenomenal Title I teacher who has served as not just Title I teacher, but also as reading coach, and one that, again, is a shining star. Both of them would still continue with us if it weren't for the changes in the state teachers retirement system. Keep in mind, anyone who is eligible, if they retire by June 30th of this year, they fall under the old standards and old benefits for the retirement system. If they go another year and stay past June 30th, basically, they are looking at the potential of changes in the retirement system and the guarantee of the old benefits. And so it's behooves both of them to retire. They have expressed interest in a retiree hire. In order to go through that process, we have done this in the past with chemistry teachers, with school psychologists, and with other teaching spots that are hard to find. And it's one where, in order to do that, we have to have a public hearing to give the public an opportunity to provide input on the retiree hire of these 2 individuals. And so at this point, though, I would recommend that the board move forward with looking at a retiree hire for both of these individuals because of the unique and high-quality services that they're providing for the students. So the first step is for the board to basically direct the treasurer to establish a public meeting. Timeline would be June 2nd, 3rd, or 4th is when we need to have that hearing in the public for these individuals.
Gentlemen, would you like to have a look at your calendars?
Either the second or third are fine on my calendar.
Like to.
Okay. Gentlemen, this way, second or third, doesn't make any difference. I think we should do this in the evening since it's a public hearing. Give citizens the opportunity to come and speak to the board. Though I don't think we've had anybody in the past choose to do so. We still need to provide the opportunity. And the reason we're not setting this date in April at the board meeting is because it's too late. Anything? Well, then let's go with Tuesday, the 2nd.
Tuesday, June 2nd.
Okay. 5:30. At the Board of Administration offices in the boardroom on the 2nd floor. How's that sound?
And just information, what we've done in the past, we've held the hearing, board has gone into executive session after the hearing, and then come out and basically made a decision on whether or not to retire or not. So that would happen after the hearing.
And Jeremy, would the protocol be the same to speak at the hearing as it is during the board meeting, 5-minute limit, or perhaps maybe the 20-minute total? Can you check on that for us?
I will check on the 20-minute total.
And while the public is certainly invited to provide input, that does not necessarily mean the board is going to engage in back and forth. It's an opportunity for you to provide, you as the public, be able to provide input as we move forward with those decisions. Okay, then I do not have any, we do? Okay, then we need to have that formalized in the form of a motion to set that date and time for the public hearing on the retire or rehire.
So move that.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Will you please call the roll?
Mr. Height.
Aye.
Mr. Gregerson.
Aye.
Mrs. Webster.
Aye. Thank you. I still do not have any requests for a hearing of the public regarding non-agenda items, correct? Okay. I'd like to thank all the administrators once again for their monthly reports. We do very much appreciate the time and effort you put into supplying that information. It helps to keep us aware of what's going on at the central office as well as the building. Anything else to come before the board this evening? I'd like to remind the public that our next regular meeting will be held April the 23rd at 6 o'clock at Spring Creek Primary School. I would imagine there will be, I think there will be an executive session? There will be, it will be prior to at 5 o'clock, just like we did this evening. Seems to be a lot of hiring at this time of year. Is there a motion to adjourn then this evening? There's nothing else to come before the board.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and we will assume that it's by the unanimous consent, Mr. Bill. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, and good night. Meeting adjourned.